This was published on creepypasta.org by user Jacob title, The Haunting of Hollow House. It was a chilly October night, the kind where the wind howled through the trees and the moon cast an eerie glow on everything it touched. I had just moved to Willow Creek, a small town known for its quaint charm and haunted history. Halloween was approaching, and with it came stories of the old Wright House, an abandoned mansion on the outskirts that everyone whispered about. I was intrigued. My friends, however, were hesitant. "You shouldn't go there, Max," my friend Lucy warned, her brow furrowed. "They say it's cursed." "Cursed?" I scoffed. "It's just an old house. I'll be fine." That night, armed with nothing but a flashlight and a sense of adventure, I made my way to the Wright House. The moonlight painted the path in silvery hues, and as I approached, the mansion loomed before me, its broken windows like dark eyes staring down. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I brushed it off. I pushed the creaky door open, the sound echoing through the empty halls. Dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight, and I took a deep breath, stepping inside. The air was thick with the scent of mold and decay, and the floorboards creaked ominously under my weight. "Just a house," I muttered to myself, trying to calm my racing heart. I wandered through the dimly lit rooms, each one more decrepit than the last. Old furniture lay shrouded in sheets, and faded photographs hung crookedly on the walls. They depicted a family long gone, their eyes seeming to follow me as I moved. I shivered, but pressed on. As I entered what must have once been a grand parlor, I noticed an ornate mirror hanging above the fireplace. Its surface was cracked, but there was something captivating about it. I approached, drawn by an inexplicable force. Suddenly my flashlight flickered. I cursed under my breath, jiggling the battery. Just then, a chill swept through the room, causing me to look back at the mirror. In its reflection, I saw a shadowy figure standing behind me. I spun around, heart pounding, but the room was empty. "Get a grip, Max," I whispered to myself. I turned back to the mirror, and my breath caught in my throat. The figure was closer now, its features indistinguishable but undeniably there, watching me. Panic surged within me, and I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over a fallen chair. I needed to leave. I turned to make my way back to the front door, but as I did, the atmosphere shifted. The air felt thick, almost suffocating. The whispering began, soft at first, then growing louder, filling the room with a cacophony of voices. "Leave! Leave! Leave!" they chanted, each word a chilling reminder that I didn't belong here. I ran, pushing through the darkened hallways, my flashlight flickering erratically. I could hear footsteps echoing behind me, but when I glanced back, there was only darkness. I burst through the door and into the night, breathless and terrified. But I wasn't free yet. The whispers followed me, echoing in my mind, urging me to look back. I fought the urge but finally turned to glance at the house. The front door stood wide open, and for a fleeting moment, I thought I saw the figure again, standing on the porch, its face obscured by shadows. I sprinted home, heart racing, unable to shake the feeling that something had followed me. I crashed through my front door, locking it behind me as if that could keep the darkness at bay. For days, I tried to push the experience out of my mind, but every night, I found myself plagued by nightmares, visions of the figure and the whispers that had beckoned me to return. I avoided telling Lucy and the others, afraid they would think I was losing my mind. Then came Halloween night. My friends insisted on a party, and despite my reservations, I agreed to join. The air was festive, filled with laughter and music. But as the night wore on, I felt a growing sense of unease. Around midnight, as we gathered around a bonfire in the backyard, someone suggested a haunted house story. I listened half-heartedly, but the mention of the Wright House sent a jolt through me. "Max, didn't you explore that place?" Greg asked, a teasing grin on his face. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. "Yeah, but it's just an old building. Nothing happened." Lucy shot me a knowing look. "You're lying, I can tell. You're not the same since that night." "Come on, it was probably just my imagination," I insisted, but the words felt hollow. "Let's go check it out," Greg said, suddenly enthusiastic. "It'll be fun." "No way," I shot back, panic rising. But deep down, I felt a pull, a desire to confront what I had experienced. Before I could voice my objections, they had already decided. "Let's go, Max. You can lead the way." With dread pooling in my stomach, I found myself walking toward the Wright House again, my friends laughing and joking behind me. As we approached, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to stretch longer. "This place is creepy," Lucy said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Are you sure we should be doing this?" "Relax, it's just an old house," Greg replied, trying to sound brave. We pushed the door open, and the familiar scent of decay hit me like a wave. My heart raced as we stepped inside, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. As we moved through the house, the air felt electric, charged with something I couldn't quite name. I led them to the parlor, the mirror looming in front of us like a dark portal. "Check this out," Greg exclaimed, moving toward it. "This is so cool." "Wait, don't get too close," I warned, but it was too late. He stood before the mirror, oblivious to the danger. Suddenly the temperature dropped and the whispers began again, wrapping around us like a shroud. "Leave, leave, leave. Guys, we need to go," I urged, my voice rising in panic. But it was too late. The mirror shimmered, and the shadowy figure emerged once more, its eyes glowing with an intensity that sent chills down my spine. My friends gasped, their expressions shifting from amusement to horror. "Max, what is that?" Lucy shrieked, backing away. "I don't know," I shouted, feeling the walls close in around us. The figure raised its hand, pointing directly at me, and I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. In a burst of instinct, I turned and ran, my friends close behind me. We stumbled through the darkened halls, the whispers growing louder, more frantic. "Leave! You don't belong!" I could feel the figure chasing us, its presence palpable, its intentions clear. We reached the front door, but it slammed shut just as we reached for it. Panic erupted, and I pounded on the wood, desperation clawing at my throat. "Help! Let us out!" Greg shouted, but the house held us in its grip. "Look!" Lucy cried, pointing to the mirror. The figure was now a swirling mass, its form shifting and changing, fueled by our fear. "Max, do something!" Greg pleaded, his eyes wide with terror. In that moment, I realized I had to confront whatever this was. I took a deep breath, stepping away from the door and toward the mirror. "What do you want?" I shouted, my voice shaking. The whispers quieted, and for a moment, the figure paused, its gaze locked onto mine. "You disturbed our rest," it said, its voice echoing like thunder. "You must pay the price." "What price?" I asked, heart racing. "Face your fears," it replied, the shadows swirling around me. I closed my eyes, recalling the terror I had felt that first night. The house, the whispers, the figure. It had all felt like a nightmare. But I realized then that I had been running from it. I had to face it. "Okay," I said, my voice steadying. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." The figure hesitated, and the air grew still. I opened my eyes, locking onto its glowing gaze. "Let us go. We didn't mean to intrude. Just let us leave." There was a long silence, the atmosphere heavy with tension. Then slowly, the door creaked open. The whispers faded into the background, replaced by a calm stillness. "We are bound to this place," the figure murmured. "But you may leave, this time." I turned to my friends who looked bewildered. "Let's go," I urged, and we rushed through the door and into the night. Once outside, we didn't stop running until we reached the safety of the street. The chill in the air still clung to us, but we were free. "What the hell was that?" Greg panted, his face pale. "I don't know," I replied, still shaken. "But I think we disturbed something we shouldn't have." From that night on, I never returned to the right house. The whispers haunted me, but I had faced my fears and come out the other side. As Halloween passed, the stories of the house remained, a chilling reminder of what lay within, waiting for the next curious soul to wander too close.